Welcome back with David Sterry, a software engineer with 20 years experience doing everything from developing enterprise software to installing routers and inkjet printers. Are there too many programmers? Can there ever be too many programmers? Are there too few programmers? Let's talk about supply and demand. If you've taken economics, you've seen this before. Number of sales goes on this axis. The price of the good goes on this axis. As the price goes up, more suppliers, there will be more supply. As the price goes up though, fewer people will want to buy what it is you have to sell, and this works for programmers as well and in the job market in general. So let's talk about the supply first. There are a number of reasons why supply is limited in programmers, and one of them is the fact that people think they can't code. A ton of people assume they can't code when they've never tried it, as if coding were something we're born with. Okay, some people are naturally more curious and can just pick up a book or go online and find the information they need to start coding. My point is, this assumption limits the supply of programmers. So until coding becomes mandatory, like some companies and governments are starting to do, this is going to be a big one for some period of time. In addition, a lot of people don't even know where to start. Put yourself in the shoes of someone who might become a programmer but doesn't know it yet. To get there, first they have to consider a career change. Like, they have to think, what I'm doing now is not working anymore. And one thing that doesn't help in this respect is that programmers are not very visible. You don't drive down the street and see programmers doing their work. You see people who are doing construction. You know there are salespeople out and about, and accountants. Every business needs an accountant. But it's not always clear that every business could use development staff. So unlike teachers, which you run into in school, and doctors, which you run into at the hospital or just in the course of having a life, you may never run across a programmer. There's no yearly checkup with a coder, and maybe there should be. And even this thought that there are too many programmers limits the supply. People look at the job, they say, this is awesome. This is a desk job. It must be super easy. There must be a ton of people who want to do this job, so we're swimming in qualified candidates in the software industry. Have you ever heard the phrase, where there's muck, there's brass? It just says that if you work in areas where you're going to get dirty or it's not comfortable, that is where a pretty penny can be made. Software doesn't seem like a place where there's muck, but we do have some challenges because the work we do is with other people's code a lot of the time, and there is some muck there, and the brass that we find is just the money. You know these other jobs are hard because your body tells you. And if you watch someone weld, swinging a big hammer in a shipyard, laying in some awkward position, you know it's hard. But as desk jobs go, programming is not the easiest. Here, the muck is mental. So clearly the supply is limited. Now let's talk about the other part of the curve, demand. Demand for programmers is, I'll say, unlimited. Just like Ted Stevens said, the internet is not a truck and software is not a house. A house is built in stages that require heavy equipment. Different teams, different trades, all coordinated on a schedule. And if you make a change to the design of the house, you incur a lot of cost. But in code, all that can happen right here. Download this, copy and paste that, test it out. We have instant deployment, we have test systems. All of this makes it so that everyone knows it's not hard to change a piece of software. I mean, obviously, not everything is a one-line change, and some things can get expensive and require expertise. But by and large, you don't see that. You just see, here's a task, we want to get it done. Compare that to walking into a house and realizing that a door was kind of put in the wrong place. Add to this that a lot of the details in a code base are hidden, so nobody has to worry what the end user will think. Have you ever tried to match the finish when patching a hole in a wall? Forget about it. Even the parts that a user does see could use some polish in any piece of software. So again, talking about increased demand, there are so many different things about software that can be fixed. And by the way, this is a common mistake for people who are looking to try out open source. They might expect a polished experience, but you're not going to have a polished experience unless someone makes those little details their life mission. So to summarize, the supply of programmers is limited and demand is effectively unlimited. Where these two curves meet in 2021, you can make a good living. You just have to be aware of your value and keep your skills current. All right, if you like this video, hit subscribe, comment if you have any questions about supply versus demand in the area of programming, and we'll see you on the next one.